Well, if you remember, we were just starting with the current talent. So the supplicant presented an overview of the time and place and the seemingly problem that is arising, these machines roaming the land, and this sudden pace, this frantic pacing in the discovery of new technologies, which seems kind of out of place, considering that the year is 1545, so the introduction of firearms shouldn't be a surprise. What is a surprise is that they are, according to this Shinto priestess, much more developed than you thought it would be possible. And she kind of looked like demanding and a natural leader until she asked you what she can do about it. So she kind of expects you to direct her into the next steps of actions. And if you don't remember something, just tell me. But otherwise, we can just go.
Could you remind us of our location right now?
Yeah. I said that it's in Tanegashima Island, and the city you are currently located is called Nishinomote. It's, well, you still didn't have the occasion to look at the physical location since you're currently stuck into the Shinto temple, but it's a city located, one of the few cities scattered to the island, located near the, if I remember correctly, southeast coast. So it's a city that is functions sort of like connections between the various islands of this there are various islands, and this is the main connection to the Tanegashima, to the rest of the territory. And so it functions as a trade center and at the same time as a center of power for the current daimyo, so for the current local lord. And so while you cannot expect a city that is really so big, you can expect this is some kind of important center either for trade and for political military power.
All right. When we get a chance, Hazard made his history roll, so when we get a chance, I'll fill you in as much as I can. Right now, we are talking to this priestess, and so didn't she talk to us? I think she told us about a particular place or a particular region where the weirdness was maximal, where the evil seems to be most concentrated in it. Didn't it have to do with an area that was being oppressed or ethnically cleansed or otherwise mistreated? The people were being mistreated?
Well, she told you about the disappearance of several of these outcast people. We call them Burakumin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one responsible for handling the dead, along with the Buddhist priests. And she told you that there were some disappearances. And since they are located much more, I would say, outside the city or at the very edge of it, that is the area that seems interested in this kind of disappearances. But she told you that she already told you that these machines are roaming the land and even the streets of the central city. So they're not located in a particular zone, but they're just roaming the entire city.
From Hazard's point of view and being from the 20th century, I had kind of reserved judgment on the machines roaming the land phraseology, because that
Yeah.
could have been kind of metaphorical. These guns are all over the place, right? Or something like that. And once she kind of says that, or once I get an idea, maybe once we go out in the streets and see them, I'll say, oh no, they meant machines roaming the streets, if that's what we see. So that's what I'm curious about right now. Hazard's like, are they like machines roaming the streets? Because that would be enigmatic, to say the least. So okay, so I say, all right, well, we should go there.
Yeah.
It's,
One question. Some Buddhists that have been interacting with those Burakumin, they have also disappeared, right? Not just Burakumin, but Buddhist priests also. From what I
No,
understood. No?
not really. No.
Okay.
mhm.
Um, I can think that she tells you that, of course, these disappearances are not welcomed with just resignation,
Mhm.
or people are just accepting this without putting a fight. And so she tells you that, between Buddhist priests and people visiting this Burakumin, we learn that there is a great discontent, and it's like sitting on it's like a wildfire threatening to devour the city, because people are not just standing there acting like this is not happening.
Yeah.
A revolt is mounting, and I don't know, maybe
Alright.
it could be useful to you.
Okay.
I found it useful in the past to make it clear to the supplicant just what we're here for, because otherwise they tend to get ideas. So I will say, our role here is to repair the unnatural impact as best we can. We cannot change what has happened here already, and its consequences will be upon the people of this place to bring back to, and here I'm going to enter into the Shinto talk, to bring back into the harmony that that we all strive for. But that is the job of the people, the culture, and its spiritual leaders.
Yeah, and she doesn't appear surprised.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
just
great.
says, "I understand."
Perfect.
It's
Yeah. Nobody's expecting us to lead the popular revolt or something like that. Okay.
yes.
Otherwise, we have very difficult conversation right when they're in the middle of, like, you're like fighting an unbidden, right? And the supplicant's like, there, oh, but you're leading the resistance, right? And you're like, no. All right. Take it away, partners.
Ready to go out.
Okay. Can you just specify where you're heading right now? Or if you're heading on some way, or you just need to visit the location before having a better idea of what to do?
My thought was that that the area on the outer border of the city would
Yeah.
be good to go to. If there is any in a city of this kind, there may actually be some kind of public means of conveyance, maybe some way to be transported from place to place. The early modern the warring states version of a bus, if there is one, but I'm not sure there is any such thing. Or maybe people of means are able to be carted from place to place in some kind
Yeah,
of.
I can imagine that maybe they are reserved to people of higher status. Maybe there are people of lower classes working as transporting with the carriage.
Yeah,
The-
I'm not sure if rickshaws are really the right thing, but some kind of carriage, some
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah. I can imagine that there is a.
And if not, if not, then walk. I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's. But I was thinking of maybe just boldly going through the streets. I mean, I'm not going to skulk.
Mhm.
Let's just walk there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Let me share you a map of the location so that you can have a better idea of how much.
I approve.
I am full of maps this time. The orange circle is the temple where you're exiting right now. And as you're moving through the street, you arrange. It's not even a deal. You don't need to pay. You don't even need to pay because the priestess just directs you to one of the Buddhist priests. He just moves with the carriage, handling the corpse, or delivering the last rites. And so you don't even
ride a
have
funeral cart. Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah. The blue circle is immediately evident as the central zone of power. So the palace of the local lord and the quarters that are close to it. It's I imagine, the castle reinforced with stones and in a, I would say, elevated position. So it's immediately
a
evident.
lot of sea raids and little micro and macro wars have been fought on this spot. I assume that fortress has been through a lot and has been rebuilt several times. So
yeah, and as you know, Hazard, for your history roll, this is the Sengoku period, so it's not a period of peaceful
no, I'll
settlements.
point that out and say, you see that? These people are always at war. Right. We are in a very warlike place right now.
And if you remember correctly, a thing that we didn't mention is that the supplicant Cho, the priestess, mentioned that the weaponsmith
I remember a weaponsmith
of the local lord
Yes.
is settled in one of the close quarters of the castle. So,
right. Who's actually kind of almost a prisoner now or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just didn't make any public appearance since then.
Right. Okay.
So as you move to the outskirts of the town, two things are quite evident. First of all, the idea of machines roaming the land. It's, much more like machine roaming the streets, the very streets of this city. And you can see that soldiers are wearing on their shoulders these weapons that are not muskets or any kind of antique rifle, but they're very modern rifles, more like assault rifles, or they are kind of like they're not exactly like the 21st century version.
No, but even something mid 20th century would be shockingly out of place, right?
Yeah, but there is another thing that is really out of place, and it is something that an image that I'm going to upload. And it is this.
Their version of a tank.
Yeah, you can imagine this kind of version of a tank with these mini faces made of metal roaming the streets. They're very small. And you can actually see that at the back of these tanks, you can see someone maneuvering them, partially covered by a back protection made of wood and metal.
So we've got almost a chariot situation. There's a little kind of platform or cockpit back there.
But at the same time, you can see that they're actually maneuvered by some kind of mechanism, not
Right.
any
So
animal
they're about the
carrying
size
them.
maybe of a smart car.
Yeah, even maybe a bit bigger.
Okay.
A bit
Okay.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can imagine a bit bigger than a small car.
Mhm.
And
it-
yeah.
I was going to say if that part of the illustration in the mouth, where's the cannon,
Yes.
it also has that.
Yes.
Okay.
And it
Yeah,
does
you're
a cannon.
probably
It
going to get
shoots
some.
things.
Yeah, we're probably going to get some quick, swift looks across the stalkers, right, as we go through these streets. Yeah, exactly. And this is where I might do my sort of historical discourse. Right?
Mhm.
No, this is not. We're centuries off. Right? This is hugely enigmatic. And I was thinking typically we've been up against very distinctive unbidden, but the enigmas have been pretty straightforward. The enigmas have been pretty, understandable. Oh, look, the rune in the standing stones in the graveyard, of the Vikings, right? I get it. We could be up against like a really messed up, like convoluted enigma. I mean, this is like there's time travel here, or the equivalent, the cultural equivalent of time travel. I mean, I think the veil's in, or rather, I think the flesh is in real trouble here. I think we're walking into, scary separation, new reality defining weirdness.
Well, before asking for a specific role, there's another aspect quite interesting. People in the street, and with no distinction of class, gender, or age, sometimes appear to you as kind of mechanic in acting, or it's not something that is really so spread. But at the same time, you can see that there's a certain stiffness in their movements, or sometimes their phrases are kind of like out of place,
Or
like too
repetitive activity,
simplistic.
like doing a thing over and over and over, for a little
Yeah,
while.
sometimes
Stuff
they
like
just
that.
move too
Yeah.
quick or
Right.
too slow.
Mhm.
And this is not something that is really so spread, so you can tell immediately that an
Mhm.
entire area has been covered, but it certainly confuses you.
Right
There's a
about the point
certain-
where we say, "Oh, look, what didn't we just see somebody like that? Look, there's another one." So just about that point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
to the point where
Mhm.
they appear more like even machines than men, but this is really, at the moment, very subtle. Something that you can easily tell that something wrong about that person, but you can still distinguish that person from, soul or a machine.
Mhm.
Can you roll your sensitivity, please?
I would be happy to, which gives me my 6 dice for awareness, and which also has its +3. So let's do that. Okay. So my total is 13.
Yeah.
It's 12.
You can notice one thing, not about the people we talk about later, but regarding the machines and the weapons and they're I won't say, I would say oozing with essence. They're made of essence,
Okay.
and that is clear.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's part of my previous discussion. I'll just fold that right into what I was saying.
yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
and and it seems that they're I would say alimented by this kind of flowing of essence. It's interesting to guess what happens when this essence, on like a flame on a candle, just turns off, and it extinguishes the source of its power. So these carriages, these weapons, you can see that they are alimented by this process. They're burning their source of essence.
Well, that's kind of weird. Huh. Essence as oil.
Yeah, much like that. Yes.
This is like hitting all of Hazard's little hate buttons. Right. Oil-driven military buildup, that kind of thing.
But
You had to go there.